thank you very much, Foko. And Kozi, it's always a pleasure being here. In short, being back home. This is one of our home. That we cherish most. So it's always a pleasure being back.
Be careful when you say this is one of your homes, because among us we have someone who likes suspecting people. So you might be suspected.
Suspecting each other is always normal in life. That's how. In other words, that's checks and balances.
So we need to suspect you.
So someone is trying to put checks and balances to see whether you're in the right track.
Suvocal, you are a young-led organization, and you've got a bias on traditional leaders or working with traditional leaders. First of all, the farmers, let's talk about FRI. At one point, they did announce that they have reached their target and they were not ready to continue buying. Then farmers started complaining. Then we saw them rescinding the decision or saying, no, okay, we'll continue buying those maize that has been delivered to our depots. As Suvocal, how do you look at the relationship between the Food Reserve Agency and the farmers in Zambia?
Well, thank you very much, Fokolo. And to start with, you should also rescind that biasness that you have pride in.
Because many events that I've seen you. Anyway, it's fine.
Well, so anyway, I will leave that for another day.
I'm suspecting.
We are a youth-led organization that actually takes traditional, ceremony, takes traditional activities. We believe in our cultural norms, and the people that actually are custodian of these traditional norms are our traditional leaders, because they remind us every single year across the country, different chiefdoms, they celebrate these traditional ceremony in their different way. But now, going beyond just talking about traditional activities, there are also activities that has to do with farmers, because to say traditional leader, the chiefs, they are custodians of they are subject to a majority of them are farmers. In as much you don't want to go back where you're coming from. So now coming to the very question you asked about the relationship between FRI and the farmers. To start with, I'll say generally the Ministry of Agriculture, through FRI, because they've got a lot of these farmer support program, FISIP. Their relationship with farmers as a very active NGO, in supporting traditional activities such as to do with farming, it hasn't been that good for a very long time. If possibly we can simply say maybe since independence, farmers have never really been well taken care of. For a lot of reasons, Fokol and the Kozi. You see, for us to be where we are here today, for you to go and have that meal that you're going to have at lunch or whatever time, is because someone out there is doing farming. You don't do farming here in town. You go to buy in shops. And the shop do not farm. They depend on farmers. But a farmer who's working so hard, so tirelessly to feed the nation, if they are not well appreciated and well recognized, then definitely they can't be a good relationship. Already you brought an aspect of FRI in terms of reaching their target. In the first place, why should you reach your targets when farmers still have a lot to supply to you?
There is a budget that is always released to go towards FRA.
So when you're a parent in the house and you have got 5 children and you can only sponsor 2 to college and all of them pass, would you say you'd have failed because my budget is only for 2 children? Apparently no. That's why you're a government. What do? Is to look for market on behalf of your farmers. If you have reached your target as FRI, there are always interested parties outside the country. You can export on behalf of farmers. Why can't you do that? You can't just say we have reached our target so we can't buy anymore. Where do you think farmers will take their maize? When they begin also arranging their own ways of exporting, there comes restrictions that you put on exporting ban and so on. Then how do you expect them to sell their farm produce? So the relationship hasn't been very good since inception. Farmers have never been appreciated.
So when you say the relationship has not been good and you've gone back to the time of independence up to where we are now, when we've seen successive governments coming and going, what is it that has led to where we are of not having a good relationship between farmers and FRI or governments that have been in place?
Well, I think, Fokolo, Suvocal is not a new thing to you. We are known for mindset transformation, as an organization. So everything starts with the mind. So the government that have been there, even the government that is here, our appeal is always to embrace mindset transformation. When you empower the farmers with a transformation of mindset, when you empower your people in office with a transformation of mindset, they'll be able to understand how best to relate with the farmers, how best to respond to farmers, challenges. But when mindset is not transformed, be it at government level, be it at farmer level, trust me, we'll just be creating a cycle of dependence. Talk about the farming support program. That farm input that come here, to our understanding, we understand the mindset very well. That is an empowerment that farmers get. And an empowerment should not come every single year. That becomes now a routine of dependence. When you're empowered, you are empowered once. You should grow. A farmer should only get farming input once. When they do their farm produce, they should save enough for the next year's farming season, because they've been empowered. But when you don't understand the concept of mindset, you'll be creating a pool of dependence, who will now be throwing a blame on you because you have failed to deliver farming input on time, you have failed to do everything to the farmers on time, because you don't have the capacity to do everything.
Who has created this dependence? Is it a farmer or the successful government?
It's a successful government. Any government that has formed.
So a farmer is not to blame him?
You can't blame a farmer, because the farmer is just a recipient of the failure of embracing mindset. But
why can't the same farmer sell and save some money to buy? Because right now, I have seen politicians calling on this government to say start delivering farming inputs because the rain season has started. So why can't the very farmer who has delivered the maize to FRA and he or she has been paid, why can't they start on their own by buying farming inputs?
You raise a very good question. Suvocal, ask us who are farmers, on the other hand.
When you posting, ask us who are farmers.
Yes.
Are you referring to cause that is not a farmer?
When you're a successful farmer, you need to boast.
Okay.
Yeah,
you need to boast.
But I think, as Suvocal has said, these farmers have been on FISP for a while, and you have observed that farmers need to grow. They need to graduate.
Definitely.
But this is not happening. And as you have put it, it's a mindset problem.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, I don't agree with you when you say it's government to blame. Because as a farmer, if I receive my inputs this year, I must grow. I shouldn't come back again next year to come and line up for the input.
Just hold your thought there, so that I make you understand the relationship between a farmer and a farmer. Farming seasons starts somewhere in October preparations, and you receive your farming input in the middle of the rain season. What kind of relationship is there between a farmer and a farmer? And do you expect the government they are doing enough? Right now, do you know what farmers go through, Suvocal? Because for you not to agree with a farmer, with our thoughts, a farmer, they have to look for their own empty bags, peel off their maize, pack into those bags, follow FRA where they have put their depot, regardless of how far it is from where they are coming from. FRA do not have depots in each village. They look for centers where they can mount their depot, so that it becomes inconvenience, it becomes a center point for everyone. So first, if you're a small farmer, don't have means of transport, you need to pay other people using your own maize to transport what you're going to sell to FRA. When you reach there, they will not buy the same day you reach there. There's that selection of choosing the best medicine. The best. I'm going to you now. They have to choose. There's that selection that goes in cause. Other commodities rejected because maybe it's not of their standard. And even what is rejected, you still pay someone to take back your loss home. And that which they'll select, they will not just buy there. You spend nights. Do you know what they do? Because in the daytime, it's a wife guarding the maize, waiting for FRA to buy. In the night, the husband going to guard there. Whereas you are there, you are spending money to feed yourself at the depot. By the time FRA now buys your maize, they are not even just paying cash. They are buying on credit, because they will get that maize. You understand? And they will now you sign papers. Okay, we're going to prepare papers in 3 weeks or in 1 month. You receive your payment. Others take 6 months. They go into farming season where FRA is still owing them. How do you expect a farmer to grow and to stand on their own when farming input is drained? When their only money that they have labored for is drained on coming on top of the expenses? Because some of them will find by the time they are saving the money from FRA, it's already in a loss, because the time they spend those months already, now they're talking about they have reached their target. We are complaining about there's no, those the empty bags.
The empty bags.
Do you know what is happening? The heat that is hitting on those bags, those bags that are, the maize is also being destroyed. So at the end of the day, farmers are encountering losses when they have already encountered a lot of losses during the farming activities. So when FRA pays upon receiving, because that's how it's supposed to be. You understand? Do you go to a supermarket and get and say, I'll pay once I taste your food? It's you pay and you get. So why can't FRA also try to budget in advance, whereby upon just getting within a week, farmers should get their money? So that once they get within a week, a farmer can decide to use that money they have been paid to buy their own farming input. But how do they do that when their maize have gotten on credit? And this tendency where after FRA collects whatever they collect from farmers, they go and package the next thing. Now they prepare their nice maiden speech, because as a country we have recorded a bumper harvest of such metric tons when you haven't even owed farmers, and you are busy marketing what you have recorded. You need first to settle what you owe to people, so that when you came to say, now we have recorded this, we owe this, you don't owe farmers. So in other words, you are advertising on behalf of farmers because you haven't paid them. So even the government that we have today, our appeal as a young-led organization, farmers go through a lot. You don't farm yourselves. Even if you stand on podium and say you have recorded a bumper harvest, are you the one who are doing those farming activities? You're not the one. So pay the people that are working tirelessly on time, so they can decide either to buy their own farming input using what you have paid them. Otherwise, this is why we're into the dependence syndrome cause. Because farmers are not paid. Already now we are into October, right? Rains were raining in the eastern Suvocal. We watched on news. Already, the maize that hasn't been bought by FRA is already damaged, in a very bad state. And farmers have to prepare for another farming season, right as we are talking right now. We are in October, and they haven't yet. FRA is still collecting maize. By the time they are done collecting, we'll be talking about November. By the time they pay farmers, we'll be talking about January. Then, come on, what kind of farming is that? Then do you expect a farmer to stand on their own?
So apart from mindset change, apart from the challenges, you've noted the challenges, you've seen these challenges. What is it that should be done under the Ministry of Agriculture? Because you are saying they prepare those speeches and announce that we've recorded bumper harvest. Yes. What is it that should be done in order for them not just to be giving us speeches that we've recorded bumper harvest when they haven't even paid those farmers, the actual owners of the maize? What is it that should be done?
What should be done is government should not work in isolation. Government should work with stakeholders such as NGOs, such as civil society organizations, and many other stakeholders like ourselves. So that when we are engaged into transforming mindset of farmers, for your own information, we are already doing this at our capacity. We have gone to a number of other chiefdoms. We are doing this as I'm talking right now, because I think I did communicate to you that we are just in Southern Province just 2 weeks ago. This is the same message that we have preached actually. You need to move above board where there's too much dependence on the government. Supplement government by you taking your own directions of buying your own farming input. So all what government need to do is to work in collaboration with stakeholders. We are supplementing hands to the government of the day, all those civil society organizations. But when you want to take a single direction as government to provide all the solutions, for all information, I will never get to know what kind of meal you want to eat if I don't ask you. I may end up buying you a meal that I don't even eat. This is what government does in most cases. They want to assume that this is the solution that our people want without involving them. You end up providing them long solutions. So the best way that you can always, develop a country, or you can actually answer to the cries of farmers, is to engage them on the grassroots. What exactly do you want? How best do you want us to empower you? Bring the issue of mindset transformations.
Are you insinuating that farmers are not engaged? Or farmers have never been engaged by successful
farmers? They have never been engaged. The engagement is always through maybe the associations, or maybe their union and so on, who don't even go down now to explain to each and every individual farmers.
But we've seen the same farmers, praising government, that we are happy that they have heard our cry. We had a meeting with them. We asked them to give us farming inputs in time, and here we are.
Suvocal.
I've seen them. We've covered these stories.
Suvocal.
Eugene.
Suvocal, here where you are here.
Yes.
If I come and I say, Suvocal, I've paid lentils for 3 months for you, have I engaged you?
You've not, you've just paid.
Are you not going to praise me?
So then what are you saying?
What I'm saying is, when a farmer receives what they are waiting, even if there is a delay, they also appreciate it because you have given them despite the delay. But did you did you solve the problem? No. You have just worsened the problem because you have created them to be dependents. The same farmer next year, when you don't give them, they'll still complain. They only speak and praise the government when they have received what they are waiting. And that thing
despite the wait. Even if they were waiting, so long it has come, they forget about the waiting and they start singing praises.
This is what happens. You see what happens. Already they are complaining about farming, FRI not buying their maize on time. They are complaining about empty bags, right?
Yes.
They are still waiting. What is FRI telling them? No, yeah, be patient, be patient. They are waiting. Tomorrow when they receive, they'll forget that okay, we have been delayed and we have been having all these losses. They'll praise. We appreciate that FRI have now delivered. But that's not how we should keep farmers. It's just a sense of humanity to appreciate somebody, even if it comes on a too long time. You still appreciate, because it has come. But the best way is let it come on the right time. Engage people. You can't just be engaging people by their representative.
We have a new president now who has a farming background.
Definitely.
What do you expect from him, considering the fact that you feel that government does not really engage the farmers, and the government is to blame for this dependency syndrome, as you put it?
Well, we expect a lot from the new government, especially that we have a president that has got vast knowledge in business, vast knowledge in farming itself. So this thing that we're talking about, I know to say if he is listening and if he's told, you agree with us 100% to say what the young people in Suvocal-NGO are talking about, that's the actual truth. And I think we don't have to emphasize much because he knows exactly what to do and when to do it. Yeah, that's my simple thing.
Do you feel, or should I say, what direction should this government take as regards helping to reduce this or stop this dependency syndrome?
Well, step number one that government has to take through His Excellency, President H.H. Hakainde Hichilema, is to instruct or to make it very obvious that all the government institutions, be it ministerial offices, whatever it is, there should be an open door policy to every general public, stakeholders that would want to add value to the growth of the country. In the past years, government has never made it easy for engagement with other stakeholders. Just for you to say, Minister, you start now struggling as if you are applying to, for enrollment of your child in school Suvocal. When actually, you're not just going there to ask for employment, you are going there to say, I've got a solution. But you find they'll put you on a long queue. And yet now you see our colleagues that possibly are considered to be the very key important stakeholders. They don't even write in those books. They just walk in the minister around this way, sir. But you, the Zambian, you are put on a waiting list. So I think the step number one, through His Excellency, open the engagement door policy with stakeholders. Because the reason why we form NGOs, the reason why we exist as stakeholders is to supplement government's effort. We don't go to say, give us money. We go there to say, here are the solutions. Can you use them? But if, in most cases, I think I gave a news some time back on Prime, Suvocal, where you are just inviting a minister to come and officiate, to come and be a guest of honor on what they have not even spent at all. You are paying school fees for more than 300 school-going children, and just want him to come and to officiate. They make it so difficult, as if you have gone to look for a job. So in the long run, you find you've got a lot of stakeholders that keep the idea to themselves, and they're busy on the ground supplementing government's effort without government knowing. There are a lot of NGOs that are on the ground that are doing so much work. It's not the government alone.
What is Suvocal doing to supplement government's effort, especially as regards helping farmers to stand on their own?
Well, number one that we are doing is changing the mindset of farmers, which we are already doing in collaboration with traditional leaders, the chiefs, and their subject. You can imagine the 2 weeks period we were out there, we engaged the chiefdom, the entire chiefdom and the entire leadership of the chiefdom. Talk about the chief, the headman, and everyone. So at the begin understanding their role in supplementing government's effort. Only when you make your citizen understand to say, I've got also a part to play, and this allows me to play my part, government will have a lot of their burden lifted off. And this is what we are doing. So very soon we'll be giving the whole concept of what is happening in regard to our partnership with traditional leaders, because we are working on something very big that we intend to do it in each and every chiefdoms. But we are doing it as a pilot project in this particular chiefdom first. So once we are done, then everyone will understand to say it's very much possible to be self-reliant as a chiefdom.
Suvocal.
Do you, how have the farmers and the traditional leaders or traditional leadership received this program of you engaging them in trying to change their mindset? How is the response from the chiefdoms that you've received so far? And how many farmers, if you can tell, how many farmers have you managed to touch?
Well, our strategy is very unique, Suvocal. We know how to get into a chiefdom and how to bring everyone on board. Of course, you can't just walk into my house and you start asking my children, whether they have eaten, what kind of food do they eat. You need to ask the people that provide. So when you go there, you go through the leadership. The leadership will be able to organize a meeting for the people. They are key strategic, leaders. Then again, it goes down. Start from the top leadership until you reach to the bottom. By the time you reach to the bottom, then the entire chiefdom would have gotten your concept. So that's how it works. You can't just go to one house and you change their mindset, because how many houses are going to go around in the entire country of Zambia?
There are people that are watching right now. Maybe they have not seen your presence. Where have you started from with this program of changing the mindset of farmers? Have you started in the east? Have you started in the south? Or how is your program structured like?
Well, very good question. And very strategic in responding, because I don't want to preempt.
Let's hope you are going to be strategic and not being economical with the truth.
Well, the Bible says there's time for everything. There's time to hide information. There's time to display it out for everyone. So I think at this point it's the time not to disclose everything, but to tell that we are really working. We are really working.
So that is the strategy you talked about.
So the strategies we are really working, but to say which part of the country, I think for now, let government engage and so be able to say, okay, this is what we are doing. But of course, when you go on our Facebook pages, our social media, our pages, you'll see all the activity that we are doing in whatever chiefdom where we are. It's not a secret for everyone.
You've talked about these ministries having an open door policy, and now you've said government engaging you. Have you started the plans of engaging government or going to the ministries, the respective ministries, telling them that this is the program that we have and we feel we can work together with you? Have you started that process, or you are still with that shock of going to a ministry and you're put on a waiting list?
Well, we have never had the shock. As we are an angel, believe to say, where there is a transformation of mindset, you not have difficulties to get along. But where you have got leadership whose mindset possibly is not transformed, you have difficulties, and you need to move on saving lives. You can't just be waiting to say, because the minister has not responded, so we'll just be waiting. We are busy in the community doing what we are doing. But yes, we haven't engaged the current government, because a month plus of them just being to power is too short. They need to get settled. They need to, be able to see which file is where and who left it where, who got it from where. So when they get settled now, that's the time we engage them, because like what I said, we're very unique NGO.
Mr. Machona, just like Kozi said, he doesn't want to agree with you, and I don't want to agree with you, and I'll be doing a disservice to myself and to the farmers. There are challenges already. Farmers right now, as we are speaking, you've told us that in Eastern Province, they are crying. Maize being soaked. Why are you not buying maize? There's a challenge there.
Yes.
Where are the empty bags?
Yes.
There's a challenge. Why are you still waiting when there are these challenges where you can even engage them?
This is what I'm talking about. When you just put a prayer in the ground on a substitute, you give them few minutes to see how they're able to learn. And
even if Swati Yamunche Benango, you still give them time. So as I should adapt.
My dear, you can't just tell someone of just gone, you have missed a ball there. You observe. So when you begin now giving your criticism or your advice, you have also point to say, I observed you for this, but I realize you're not going this direction. Because they'll tell you, we are planning on doing this. So to me, a 1 month price is not adequate.
When are you going to engage them, now that you are talking about 1 month?
When are we going to engage them? Because let me tell you one thing about politics. I'm not a politician.
You're not a politician.
Yeah. Because one thing about politics, UPND has been planning to form government for the past 23 years.
Yes.
They have all their strategy. You understand? Wow. They have all their strategy. And actually, to me, I would say they are better off as a government today because they have seen the mistakes that have been made by other past governments. So when they come in, they should know how to handle issues of FRA, issues of Minister of Agriculture, farmers. But so a very reasonable organization or stakeholder, looking at how long this political party has been in opposition, cause definitely you take a 1 month or more to observe how they are managing things. So that when you begin now responding, you'll be able to say, here you didn't do this way. You'll be able to give positive criticism, but even them, they will not say, but yes, we are given enough time. Because now they will tell you, no, we have just taken over. We are still correcting the error that this and that made. So already from what is happening, we are able to see how they are responding to the current challenges. So when we now begin visiting their offices and offering our solutions, we will directly actually be able to notice actually, we thought actually you have got a solution to this, but you are going in different directions. Maybe you are following the same route of the other government. But if just talking about now, they will just tell you, no, actually, we are still using, do you know that they're using the very old budget that was left by the PF? Do you know that? They haven't even come up with their own budget yet. So they are still using, so definitely they'll be able to tell, no, actually, this and that. So we don't want those kind of political response to us. We want issues that are humanitarian response, not political issues. We will leave those for their fellow politicians to do politics of to do criticism of politics. As we do criticism of humanitarian. So when we criticize, it means we want to see a solution at the end of the day. It's either we provide in collaboration with them or they'll provide. For now, what we leave is for politicians to begin doing their checks and balances because that's what they do. But a stakeholder, when they offer criticism, they've got also solutions. And maybe they're even doing it already. That's why we are quiet, because we are doing something on the ground.
So, as we come to the end of this interview, Mr. Machona, what are your concluding remarks? And in your concluding remarks, I would like to get your thoughts about since you sound to be very passionate about agriculture, the newly appointed agriculture minister, Mr. Piri.
Well, thank you very much. We wish the new government all the success during their tenure of office in all their jurisdictions, all their ministries. And talking about Minister of Agriculture, we wish him all the success. And our appeal to him is he should make his door very open to all stakeholders that have got solutions. There is no government or no man that is an island. So he may be vested with certain knowledge about agriculture, but it does not make him to be a superhuman being that has got all the answers. You need to engage stakeholders. So to us, I will be definitely writing to the ministry to seek engagement, collaboration on how we can work together in transforming the well-being of our farmers.